Hello everyone, this is May and welcome to a special pre-recorded session of Never 7, The End of Infinity. This is my first time doing a blind playthrough of something, so let's get started. Why? Could those be my words? Or somebody else's? No, right now it's doubtful whether those are even words or not. There's nothing here. No sound, no color, no wind. Feels like I'm swaying around in a cloudy liquid. It's so cold. With every breath I take, my windpipe and lungs let out a dry sound as if they're frozen. That heavily dangling palm is clutching onto a small fragment of light. A bell? It's a small spear. The smooth metal surface shines as it emits a cold light. The bottom has a long, narrow hole carved into it, and a small, dull crimson string is tied to the top. Before long, the bell begins to quietly slip out of the palm. It then slips out and falls. I tearfully cling to her chest as my body's trembling gradually intensifies. In my arms, I can feel her cold wet skin. Her thin limbs are stiff. Looking at her ghastly pale, almost transparent cheeks, I feel like she might shatter into 1,000 pieces if I touched her cheek. As if she were a doll made out of glass. She has already stopped moving. She doesn't speak or smile. With her radiance and warmth completely gone, all that's left of her is an empty shell. Completely empty shell. Today is Saturday, April 6, 2019. I've lost her. Why? Only that hoarse voice fills the empty void. The beginning of everything. As I wake up, I kick the covers off the bed with all my strength. Still half asleep, I blankly stare at the ceiling. The ceiling looks unfamiliar. Slanted and made up of several polished wooden boards that are stuck together and equally spaced. These boards were probably built with no space between them. The faint scent of the wood lingers in the air. I realize I'm freezing, my body soaked with sweat all over. I take a deep breath and slowly exhale. The warm scent of the wood goes through my nose and fills my head. It takes me 3 more breaths until I reach the point where I can realize where I am. That's right, I'm at the camp. April 1st, moon. I slowly sit up beside my bed. The sheets that I kicked off are now on the floor. I should pick them up, but I don't have the strength to do so. My whole body feels sluggish. My parched throat begs for water. It feels like I'm waking up with a hangover. Despite my body's protests, I raise my left arm to check the time on my watch. The digital reading says, first Monday, 9:17 a.m. on its display. I lower my arm. Woo! And take in another deep breath. What an awful nightmare. Huh? Suddenly, I start to feel a bit worried. But why? It was just a dream. I shouldn't get shaken over some dream. Still, deep down, I can't help but feel like a little disturbed. Dream. But was it really just that? Saturday, April 6th. In 5 days, huh? Unconsciously, I start counting the number of days up until Saturday on my right hand. What the hell am I doing? I must still be half asleep. I coldly smirk, mocking myself. But just then, the door to my room is violently thrown open with enough force to break it. Standing in the doorway, I see. Who's she again? All of a sudden, she says something. She sounds like she's frantically chasing after something. The girl repeats herself. Obviously, I have no clue what she's talking about. I think I sound really stupid, but it's too late to take my words back. The girl is startled by my reply and takes in a deep breath. She says nothing, but instead stares directly into my eyes. This is kind of awkward. It's almost like this one time at a grocery store when a little girl I didn't know tightly clung to my leg while saying "Daddy." Yeah, this situation feels the same. Try giving it a comforting smile. Calmly ask her, did something happen? Did something happen? It's at time like this when it's important to stay calm. You don't want the situation to get any more awkward. Just then. As she speaks, her eyes wander around the room. She looks really confused. Are you alright? You're still half asleep, aren't you? I say this as I give her a sympathetic grin. Although she says that, it looks like she hasn't yet grasped that this is reality. What kind of dream was it? I ask her this. She seems surprised, so I ask again. Your dream, what was it about? She thoughtfully taps her cheek with her index finger. I know what you mean. Like when you wake up from a dream cracking up, but then you can't remember what was so funny or something like that. All that would be left behind would be a vague, pleasant feeling. Huh? At that moment, her expression becomes dim. Hopelessness. Now that she mentioned it, I also woke up this morning from a rather grim dream. Suddenly, she begins to smile widely. Huh? But didn't you say you don't remember what happened in it?
とにかく最低な夢だったってことは確かだから。
Looking closely at her, I realized that her entire body is soaked with sweat. She looks like a patient who just escaped from a hospital. Her face is pale too.
ごめんね、いきなり押しかけちゃって。
No, I don't mind. I myself just woke up as well.
ちょっと恥ずかしいよね。いきなりわけのわかんないこと言ったりして。これじゃあなんか無遊病の人みたいだよ。
She gives me a flustered grin as she tries to comb her messy bed hair with her right hand. In return, I smile back.
まあ、このことはなかったことにしといて。誠と私だけの秘密ってことで。
After I give a slight nod in agreement, she leaves the room. Wait, hold on. I almost missed it. Makoto. She definitely said that just now. Like we're best friends or something. We only just met yesterday. Why are you calling me that without a kun or something? Eh, whatever. Maybe she's just that kind of girl. A really friendly type. Though she seems alright. I stretch, stand up, and begin thinking. What did she say her name was again? I definitely think that it started with a U. Yoriko, Yuki, Yumi, Yui, Yuka? Yuka? Yeah, that's right, it was Yuka. I remember now. Said she was so when she introduced herself last night. And her last name was Kawashima, wasn't it? Yuka Kawashima, huh? Well then, muttering those words, I head out to the living room. Yenda, good morning. The ceiling was quite drafty. The room was rather spacious. Everything in it is new and well organized like a showroom. On the south wall is a huge glass window. It offers a fantastic view of the vast blue ocean. There's no one else here yet. Yuka probably went back to her own room. I feel like relaxing, so I approach the sofa. Suddenly, I notice someone's placed an aluminum ashtray on top of it. Lying on the ashtray is a lone cigarette butt. Geez, what idiot puts an ashtray in here of all places? Pick up and place it on the top of a round table in front of me. With that, I sink into the soft sofa. Beyond the huge glass window, the morning sun shines in from the east, its reflection sparkling on the ocean. It's quite a breathtaking scenery. Positioning myself so that I can see it better, I blankly stare out at the ocean for a while. Try to put my thoughts together, just relax. I try to pull my thoughts together. First, the camp. Well, I say camp, but this isn't for a school club or anything. The seminar camp. In all my 20 long years of life, this is the first time I've ever heard of such a bizarre camp. Truthfully, I don't really understand much about my college's various systems, as I skipped classes often. At the start of last month, when the final exam results in the list of those who weren't advancing to the next grade were posted, I quickly peeped up at the board and saw roster of literature department, psychologically major seminar members. It was from that announcement that I learned for the first time that I was assigned to the something seminar's fifth group, Kawashima Party. The seminar's camp's official name is, I forgot. But anyway, what the hell does it mean by seminar? Next to that roster was a sheet of paper which said, Seminar camp is designed to be an informal social gathering between members of each group of the something seminar as listed. Due to the capacity of camping lodge and the other circumstances, each group will be lodging in at a different day and time, so pay close attention to your own. Furthermore, if you cannot attend for a certain reason, you must submit a report. If you don't and are absent without permission, you will immediately be expelled regardless of your reasons. From what I can remember. Ours, the Kawashima Party, was assigned to the lodge from Sunday, March 31st to Sunday, April 7th. The bottom of the note read, other details will be given by your designated group leader. That is all. Of course, it makes sense that the leader of the Kawashima Party has Kawashima herself. Right, in other words, that half-asleep girl from earlier who barged in my room. A few days later, she called me about what I'd seen on the board.
ねえ、そしたら他の2人のメンバーがどうしても現地集合がいいって言うんだよね。あ、それは大丈夫。船のチケットは学生課に行けばもらえるから。うん。多分そういうことだからよろしくね。
I ended up arriving here last night, a little past 10. 10? I live about 124 miles from here, but I still managed to make it here. The island is in the middle of nowhere safely. Honestly, I feel like I was dragged so far from home for no reason. Soon enough, the door to the living room slowly opens. The one who comes in is... Huh? Oh yeah, that's right, come to think of it, I don't think I've heard of this girl's name yet. Good morning. I greet her cheerfully. I wait several seconds for a reply, only to get none in return. The girl completely ignores me and quickly disappears into the kitchen as if nothing had happened. No, she might not have ignored me intentionally, as it seemed to be an unconscious and natural behavior for her. For instance, if she thought she heard the greeting coming from the TV, then she probably would have ignored it. Having been ignored, I became determined to clear up this good morning issue, so I staggered to my feet and head for the kitchen. In an attempt to fix the situation, I face her and try to say good morning again. Good morning. ... Without a word, she turns to the sink faucet, filling her glass cup with the water. With a tiny sound, she drinks the entire cup in one large gulp. So did you sleep well last night? Those words sounded incredibly forced and cliched. I feel my face flush from embarrassment. I mean, not to be rude, but you don't look like you slept much. No answer. Instead, the absent-minded girl just watches the water drip from the faucet. Oh, you're not feeling depressed, are you? After all, you were taken away from your precious spring break against your will. Honestly, I'm a little bummed about that too. But you know, it can't be helped. It's too late now, so let's make the best of it, okay? I mean, if we're going to spend the week here, then it'd be best to pass our time at this camp as optimistically and productively and energetically as we...
意味ないよ。
The girl says this quite suddenly.
何の得にもならない。
Nothing again? These words make my mouth run dry. I'm speechless.
私にはないから。
What? Before I can ask again, she slips right by me and returns to the living room. Up until earlier, I had been sitting down on the comfy sofa, but now the girl is sitting where I was in a demure manner. While trying to think about what to say, it's at the point that he shows up, entering the living room while rubbing the sleep out of his eyes.
Yeah.
Legendary Undying Man. He says that in such a gaudy voice that it causes me to shiver repulsively. It resembles the greeting of a dictator looking down on his people. He looks at me as I stand still in the center of the room, then turns his attention towards the silent girl.
あれ？ひょっとしてお邪魔だったかな?
He asks the girl as he ignores my presence. Of course, she doesn't answer him.
そんなわけないか。
While laughing, he glares at me again. His eyes are full with scorn. Does he have something against me? He lets out a loud yawn while slowly walking over to the sofa before he gets sitting on it. He keeps about 50 centimeters between the girl and himself. 50 cm, that's pretty incredible. It's a distance that's not too far to be distant, but not too close to be considered creepy. He did it so effortlessly that it must be like second nature to him, a process that's been imprinted and stored in his brain, such as unconsciously and controlling a car or bike would be. Suppose this is what you call a master. This guy is the only one whose name I'd heard before coming here. Uki Ida. If you were a student at my college, you would have heard his name at least once. Okuhiko Ida, I'm pretty sure. I bet that even if you asked somebody off campus, they'd have heard of him, the son of the Ida Financial Group, or Lida. In any case, the upper class Lida family live lives that us working class people can only dream about. As Ukiho is the family's heir, it has been arranged for him to become the head of someday. In school, you couldn't go a day without hearing gossip about him. He always keeps millions of yen in the trunk of his beloved Ferreros, or I heard he conducted business with a celebrity, and then most of his stories are basically 2 years ago that happened to him, but when he gave that and did that vague outlandish stuff like that. Last night, I met the infamous Okukiko in person. Sunday, March 31st. When I arrived here, it was little past 10 at night. The exterior of the lodge was illuminated by the moonlight. My imagination ran wild as I would by its beauty and how much bigger it was than what I thought it would be. When I heard of a college-run lodge, I assumed that'd just be a painfully cramped and extremely dirty, like a really cheap rundown motel. Clearly I was wrong. There was no way the college would own such lucrative property just for this camp. Maybe it's a vacation for the college's staff. That's what I was thinking as I opened the front door. The room was filled with a mysterious atmosphere that seemed uncharacteristic. A lone girl was sitting at the floor, clutching her knees. I saw another sitting at the dining table, spacing out while resting her chin in her hands. The man was reclining on the sofa, swirling a wine glass in his hand. No one spoke to each other. I don't even think there was any conversation to begin with. It was completely silent. No, I could occasionally hear the faint sound of the man gulping down his wine, but that was it. Before long, the girl from around the table noticed me. That's what she said. From the way she said that, it seemed like she was much more tired than me. Yeah.
どうも、はじめまして。私は優香、川島優香。なぜだか知らないけど、気がついたら班長とかいう厄介な役職に任命されてた。別に成績優秀でもなければ、そこがいいわけでもないのにね。きっと、くじ引きかなんかでいい加減に決めちゃったんだと思うけど。まあ、とにかくよろしくね。
Yeah, same here. After saying this, I glanced at the other two in the room. The girl clutching her knees stared at the floor without even moving. She looked as if she were a piece of art made of plaster that had been previously placed in there. The man casually held his wine glass up towards the light to check out the wine's color. As he was doing this, he began to speak. Ukihiko. Huh? You can't be the heir of the Lida Financial Group? Hmm? Nice to meet you too. We'll call him Lida. I was so startled that I messed up my greeting. I couldn't help it though. Ida, I can't believe that Famous was in the same group as me. Suddenly I began to contemplate whether or not to fake an illness so I could go home. I was beginning to feel depressed. After that, we barely exchanged a single word and went to our beds. In the end, the girl clutching her knees never said a single word. Hey, Ukiho? I addressed him again. Yeah. I'm bored. I might as well attempt to strike a conversation. He seems interested enough. It's just what exactly are we trying to achieve at the so-called seminar camp here?
石原、掲示板見なかったのかい？各範囲の親睦会を兼ねたってそう書かれてたじゃないか。つまりこれといった目的なんかないってことだよ。みんなが親しく仲睦まじくやってればそれで万事 OK なのさ。
That's it? If that's the case, then don't you think that a week is too long for that?
まあいちいち細かいことは気にするなって。僕は
As if emphasize his point, Ukiho continues with this.
ね、はるかちゃんだってそう思うだろ。
Haruka? I see, so Haruka is that girl's name.
そう思うだろ。
Gives Haruka an attempt of a smile that's refined, yet half-hearted. Just
こ
then,
の匂い好きじゃない。
she suddenly speaks. His jaw drops. I don't think he's used to being so utterly ignored.
この匂い
Haruka glances at the aluminum ashtray that I placed on the top of the round table earlier.
タバコか。そっか。はるかちゃんはタバコの匂いが嫌いなんだね。
Haruka gives a slight nod. Now that you mention it, shouldn't the flames have already gone out a long time ago?
石原、タバコの匂いっていうのはそう簡単にはなくならないものなんだよ。しょっちゅう吸ってるやつにはわからないかもしれないが、吸わない人ならすぐに気づく。
Hmm?
もう少し気を使ってもらわなくちゃ困るな。
Hey, hold on, I don't smoke.
まったく、デリカシーのかけらもないんだな、君は。
I'm telling you, it wasn't me.
しらばっくれても無駄だよ。じゃあ聞くけれど、今朝この部屋に一番最初にやってきたのは誰なんだい？
I was, but when I came in, that ashtray was already there, on top of the sofa.
ほほん、そうですか。ま、信じてあげてもいいけれど、その代わり今日からこのロッジ内は禁煙ってことにするから、それだけは守ってくれよな。
Damn it, you don't believe me at all, just as I'm about to retort. Haruka quietly stands up. We watch in silent anticipation as she slowly takes the aluminum ashtray and walks towards the kitchen just like that. Though I can only see her face and her profile, I can clearly tell that she's angry. There's a cold, harsh glint in her eyes.
おはよ
The Yuka who enters the living room looks like a completely different person from before. Her fixed-up hair is now lightly bouncing, and she has changed out of her clothes in a neat pink dress. But the biggest change is her face. She looks like an excited kid about to leave for a field trip. For a second our eyes meet. Remembering what happened this morning, I spontaneously break into a smile. Still feeling a little embarrassed, Yuka breaks eye contact while playing with her hair. Good morning.
いや、
Returns her greeting as well. Haruka, needless to say, doesn't reply at all. Instead, she is now sitting quietly in a dining chair in front of the kitchen after having cleaned up the ashtray.
みんな朝ごはんは
Yuka says this while turning her head to survey the three of us. No, not yet.
そうじゃあ私が腕によりをかけて作っ
What?
何かご不満でも
Yuka, you can cook?
ひょっとして疑っているの
No, it's not like that.
じゃあ別に問題ないよね
Right. Yuka and cooking. For a while I get lost in my fantasies about as I connect the two together. Girls cooking. It's impossible to describe just how overjoyed I am as a man by this situation. Is there anything I can do to help? Try asking her this, as I feel like it's the right thing to do.
いいよいいよ、誠はテレビでも見て待っていて。
I see.
多分15分ぐらいでできると思う。パンで大丈夫だよ。
With a quick nod as to say, I'll leave it to you, I follow suit.
はるかは？はるかもパンでいい？
Haruka gives a slight nod, not taking her gaze off of the table's surface.
じゃ、すぐ作るからちょっと待っててね。
Yuka begins to go into the kitchen. At that moment, oh that's right. I remember something and instantly try to draw Yuka's attention.
何？
Is it... There's something I'd like to ask you. Do you smoke?
吸うわけないでしょ、そんなもの。この初々しい肌を見れば一目瞭然じゃない。
Yuka comically places her hands to her cheek, muttering to herself in agreement. She enters the kitchen. She didn't do it then. Just who was it that smoked? Yuka, Haruka, Okiho. Which one of these... those three is lying? I moan in frustration. Even though Yuka has said it would take her about 15 minutes, it's been almost an hour. So what the hell is Yuka cooking in there anyway? It's now almost 11, so it's too late to call it a brunch. While waiting, the three of us decide to wash our face and change our clothes. Currently, we are watching the TV that's sitting in the corner of the room. There's a health show on there called A Healthy Utopia. Judging from its subtitle, Good Green Vegetables to Eat, it's basically a cooking show. Of course, none of us want to watch this. Unfortunately, this island only has 2 channels, both of which are local broadcasting. The other channel happens to be featuring a short documentary on natural streamers streams all over the country. Though both of the shows are boring, I think one of our streams might have been a better candidate for distracting us from our hunger. Stomach is rumbling. I don't think I can last much longer.
お待たせしました。
Finally, Yuka peeks her head out from the
食
kitchen.
事はもうテーブルの方に
At these words, Haruka immediately stands up. Kinda surprised. Find it odd that the usually indifferent Haruka is determined about eating breakfast. I guess she must be practically starving. Upon arriving at the table, our eyes widen. A wondrous vision of food rivaling a 4-star restaurant in southern France. Its glacier is shattered into pieces. There's a mysterious object that I've never seen before in my life, heaped on the pile in the center of the table. Next to that are 4 plates of toast. That is... the thing is toast, right? Placed on them. As if it had come from outer space, this mystery object has a complicated and mysterious pattern of spots, and is shaped like some kind of vicious jelly mold. As for Yuka's toast, it's a solid black mess. It might as well be called charcoal.
どうぞ召し上がれ。
Yuka urges us on with a large, proud smile. At the same time, she takes the mysterious object and places the charcoal and smacks her lips. You watch her dumbstruck. Before
あ
long,
れ？みんなどうしたの？
Yuka tilts her head.
ごめんよ。僕ちょっと匂い。
Ah, that's cheap.
私お腹空いてない。
Haruka, not you too.
へえ、せっかくこれでも何度も作り直したんだからね。
I don't think the quality of food has to do with anything, how many times you remake it. Furthermore, if it's true that this is the result of all my time and effort the last hour, including the countless times I remade it, then I just can't understand. that's the case, then just what kind of thing was her initial result? Just trying to imagine makes my hair stand on the end. Suddenly, as if she's reading my mind, Yuka says this.
誠はな
She makes a sound as I'm completely obliged to eat this. Yeah, I hopelessly nod. In the end, let's just say that Yuka's food drove me to hell and back. I never did figure out what the recipe of the mysterious object was. In all honesty, I'm too terrified to ask.